Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Career Focus series on the Success Insight podcast. This is your host, Howard Fox, and the Career Focus series supports individuals pursuing careers that tap into their skills and passions and introduces you to the entrepreneurs and companies helping to make that dream a reality. Our guest today is Jonathan Christian. Now, I've known Jonathan for a number of years. In fact, he was one of my first guests on the Success Insight podcast back in March 2019. So much has happened. Now, Jonathan is the founder of the digital marketing firm We Make Stuff Happen, and he is actually his own brand now with jonathanchristian.com. So Jonathan is a recognized leader in digital marketing, and now he is on a mission through his coaching practice to make a difference in people and small, medium-sized businesses around the globe. And what we'll learn today is our work is very much virtual, and we can do what we do and what we love anywhere in the world. So Jonathan, it's a pleasure to catch up with you and have you back on the Success Insight podcast. Welcome.
Howard Fox, thank you. And it's good to be back. Good to be back.
It's real. I remember back in 2019, I was visiting my friend Virgil and his wife Carol, and they had a beautiful house in the wine country in Healdsburg, California. And I was thinking, this is a great place to do a podcast. And you've actually been in a bunch of great places to do podcasts back in British Columbia and in the Isle of Man, and in another special place, which I'm going to let you share. I'm not going to tell too much, but do me a favor for our listeners. So much has gone on since 2019 when you were last on the show and talking about your work and We Make Stuff Happen. But so Jonathan, what you been up to?
Well, I'd like to define myself now as a digital nomad in so much as with the right laptop and the right webcam and microphone, I can work anywhere, day or night, right? So what I found, certainly with the onset of the pandemic, was I couldn't visit clients. And I was kind of a little unusual, as most agencies like mine have most of their clients terrestrial to the area that they work in, and they need that for good SEO and understanding the local marketplace. We always had this notion of being a global force anyway. So I used to call ourselves, well, I still do, the world's greatest boutique web agency or digital marketing agency. And the word boutique is, well, not massive, but we don't need to be to produce the results that we do. And all of our life, my parents didn't really travel that much, but as soon as I met my wife, we started to travel a lot together and really put a lot of our focus in understanding different cultures around the world and just becoming a better person by gleaning what we learn as we travel. And our kids love to travel. And we have a philosophy we call roots and wings. So we like to think that we've given our kids very strong roots. They know who they are, they know what they're good at, and they know what they should be doing in life. But we're not those helicopter parents that just hold on to them. And so one of my daughters lives in England, another lives in Alberta, and another one lives fairly close, although I'm in British Columbia, she's in Ontario this week working. So that was kind of our philosophy. And what I found with my clients was they were either all work or no work. Like, oh, I need 2 weeks vacation. I'm not thinking about anything. And of course, when COVID happened and nobody went on vacation and everybody was working from home, we started to find this notion of what I call a work-life blend, where is there a way of working and being remote at the same time? Yes, we had to, but why not make it a vacation or a workation at the same time? So I literally just spent 7 weeks in Thailand, and my business kept growing, right? My timekeeping was a little strange because it's an 18-hour time difference from here.
Right.
But when I have clients in South America, in the UK, and right across North America, I'm on like an 8-hour time span change anywhere with my clients. So once I got my head into my Google Calendar and I run 2 different time zones per day on my calendar, one is BC and one is wherever I am.
Right.
That's how I do work.
Okay. Now, how did you mentioned the magic word, which I definitely want to hear more about, Thailand, and I love the fact or that you share the words digital nomad, because in the work that I do, as a coach and as a podcaster, this is a business. I literally can be anywhere. Now I live in Las Vegas now, but as I was seeing you the second year in a row in Thailand, I'm thinking, oh, that's pretty darn cool. How did you begin to make the preparation so that you could take this work and also live
Yeah.
your passion of visiting to these exotic places? And they don't all have to be exotic. They could be back to your home country.
No.
However, how
Yeah.
did you begin to prepare for that?
Well, the first thing is you have to give yourself permission,
Yeah.
because the biggest thing I had to overcome was, what do my clients think? Right. And I
Mhm.
remember making a video about this and thinking, if I am appealing to people who would frown upon me for trying to find better quality time with my wife, better quality of life for me in that blue zone in the world, then are they really my ideal client anyway? So I had to give myself permission to travel and to not be embarrassed about it. So that was the first part. The second part was, you mentioned the Isle of Man in 2000 and 2020. My wife's father contracted stage 4 cancer, and of course we were deep into the pandemic, and we couldn't visit him. And he'd come out every summer since he retired, and we spent a lot of time together as a close family. And we really wanted to get back and visit with him one last time. So early 21, we decided to travel to the UK under very strict protocol, and almost like an empty plane on Air Canada, to be able to almost like say our goodbyes to Debbie's dad, my wife's father. And we got there. We had to do 2 weeks in quarantine. So we
I
had to rent a
remember I
cottage.
remember that.
We were locked in. My daughter, my wife, and I literally locked in, apart from 1 hour where we had to go and get the PCR tests or whatever, come back. And even though they were all negative, 2 weeks was mandatory. So that was kind of strange. And of course, I had to work out of a building where I couldn't even leave. So I got used to that.
Mhm.
The cool story about Debbie's dad is that they gave him 3 to 4 weeks at that point to say his goodbyes and stuff. He rallied for 10 months. And, when you've made that trip and you're committed to it, you can't say, oh, sorry, yep, got to go. If it was on vacation time and I had a normal 9 to 5 job, I probably would have had to have come back. But because I was able to embrace that digital nomad life,
Mhm.
it's like I started till finish. So however long this man is on this earth, we're going to be there for the journey. So I worked from a nightstand in the spare room of my wife's parents' house, which is the same house I started dating her in 1982. And I was able to make it work, right? I ran webinars, I did live training, and then I actually ran a 6-month mastermind out of a
Mhm.
nightstand. And I proved I could do it. So, of course, me being me, the entrepreneur at heart, I'm on the Isle of Man. We're taking a bit of time out each day for our own mental health. And I'm looking at properties. And I was born there. I lived there till I was 30 and had no intention of moving back there. But I kind of fell in love with this very old Celtic culture.
Mhm.
And I saw a lot of people doing this Airbnb type business. And I went, if that would work. So I spoke to the agency there, a company called Island Escapes, did the math, worked out a model, and realized I could fund a home basically through Airbnb and live there for free when I chose to. So we did it all on Facebook Marketplace and furnished it pretty quickly. And so that was happenstance really, but that's making lemon out of lemonades and
I
or
love that.
lemonade out of lemon, they say.
Lemonade out of lemons. There you go.
So that's
How
what we
did
did. And then, yeah, after that, I knew I could do it. So that was the
Okay.
beginning of a different journey.
Okay. I love that. And finding this Airbnb management company, Island Escapes, was that part of the critical, like, I had to have this place in this service in place because you live in BC, British Columbia, so it's
Right.
kind of hard to
It's an
come
8 hour
back and
time zone. It's a good day's worth of traveling.
mm,
If a tap doesn't work or a faucet goes or a light bulb goes, I can't fix it when I'm here, but they can. So they take a management fee and a cleaning fee, but it's turnkey and
mhm,
it's worked except an Airbnb, similar sort of thing, VRBO. There's different ways to do that, but it meant
mhm.
I now own a second property, which is part of my retirement
Sure,
strategy. And I can go back to the Isle of Man and I block my own weeks out and stay whenever I want. And it's a 3-minute walk to the beach.
I love
And
that.
everybody wants waterfront property and it's expensive, but I've almost got it.
Yeah.
Um, and it pays for itself at the same time. So,
I love that. I am curious, and how did you prepare your staff, your team, because you had folks working for you back in BC, and I'm going to make an assumption, unless you say differently, they still do. But how did you prepare them for Jonathan's life is going to be changing a little bit?
well, yeah, I mean, we didn't quite know what it was going to look like because Debbie's dad had a finite amount of time. And basically, Zoom and Slack are the two magic words in my world. Everything
Oh yeah,
happens on Zoom, just like,
right.
and then for my business, everything happens within Slack. So every project, every piece of client information is all centrally managed. So pre-COVID, I had 4 people coming into this office every single day. As soon as COVID happened, they all had to work remotely anyway.
Hmm.
So there was no need. I miss the creativity. When you have a team meeting and everybody's in the same room, there's a magic that happens there, but almost got it with Zoom nowadays. And yeah, I mean, as I said, started, so I finished nursing a 74-year-old man who was terminally ill, and that was my wife's dad. So there was no way I was not going to do that.
Of
And my
course.
team flexed around me. And
Hmm.
then we suddenly realized it's not that I wasn't needed anymore, as I have a strong role in the company, but I didn't need to be here to do it. And that
Okay.
opened up so many possibilities.
I can imagine. And I want to delve more into those, but I am curious as somebody, again, my coaching clients are all over the US. I'm on Zoom, Slack. How did you ensure and keep that creativity flowing other than saying, hey, we use Zoom and Slack? Was there any tips or tricks or like, guys, you have to think about these things? Or was it
Well,
as simple as saying Zoom and Slack?
no, it's never as simple as Zoom and Slack. There's a lot of mental health issues going on with all of us. And when you're working in a basement suite or you're working at home in your bedroom or wherever it was, and you don't get that people interaction, you can spiral pretty quickly and you can
Hmm.
just not be very productive. So obviously Slack helps me, but I also time keep my staff through QuickBooks Online, so I know exactly how long each project has taken. And I
Hmm.
can see when somebody's not as efficient as they need to be or could be.
Oh,
And my job is to just side up to them and say, so how's your world today? What's going on? And I'm as much of a counselor as I think as I am a coach when it comes to my staff and probably most of my clients too, if I'll be honest.
mhm.
And it is that almost like pastoral role as a coach that it's not always about the dollars and cents. It's about the mindset of the business owner. And it's also about the mindset of the people. And I've said this for years that two kind of people in the world. There's the people that buy from you and there's the people that work for you. And you better get both of them right.
Mhm.
So I'm a people person. So whether it's my staff or my clients, my job is to make sure that they have everything they need from encouragement, from support and tech to be able to do the job that they do well and support them and celebrate. So Amazon became my go-to for having stuff delivered, skip the dishes. If we had a team meeting, they'd all have meals sort of delivered to their home rather than as we would if we were here.
Right,
And my job is to make their life as pleasant as possible and as fun as possible. But here's the thing. Henry Ford was a guy that said everybody has to work certain hours in a shift. In a
right,
digital world with global clients, what I found was some of my guys were like, or girls were really good early in the morning, or actually really good late in the evening. What's to stop them then going for a hike for 3 hours in the afternoon when the weather's good and then coming back to the desk and working the evening? If they want to self manage and work to their strengths and whatever their calendar clock in their brain works well, I'm okay with that actually. It takes a discipline,
mhm,
but now we found that we have a variable time, if you like, of start time. As long as work gets done and I'm tracking that work,
right.
um, we do it.
I love it. I love it. And so you have the property in Isle of Man. Your father-in-law, Debbie's dad. I mean, may he rest in peace. Passed away. Your family is still there, and
Yes.
which is great. So you get back there. How did the next stage of this adventure? And I'm saying stage because all of a sudden I see you in a foreign country, Thailand. How did that start to come up on your radar?
Well, for the most part, most of my travel was into America. I live in
Right.
Canada and British Columbia. I live 3 miles from the border. In fact, I can see America literally right now.
Right.
from my window. Not quite the Sarah Palin. I can see
I was
Russia
going to
from my
say not
kitchen.
quite Sarah Palin-esque, but close enough.
I really can. Obviously, when the pandemic happened, the border was closed. I couldn't go to my, I'll be honest, I own a timeshare.
Mhm.
It's a Canadian timeshare. We've owned it since 2008. We bought it on Craigslist for very little money. Someone just wanted out of it because they couldn't afford the maintenance, which isn't actually that high. So we have a timeshare. It's 2 weeks and we pay a maintenance. So we have that. But what my wife is very good at is finding deals.
Mhm.
And we tend to go where the crowds don't. So the low season for us, because we have no kids anymore, we don't have to have them when they're out of school to go travel. We can go whenever we want.
Mhm.
So my wife looks at flight prices.
Mhm.
And big mistake, but maybe not. Once you've flown business, you
Mhm.
never want to fly coach.
I so get you there. I get you there.
Right. And there's coach and business across North America. When you're going transatlantic or transpacific, and it's an 18-hour flight or a 14-hour flight, you don't want to be in the back with your knees up near your shoulders. So
Yes.
we looked at flights. I mean, obviously we use credit cards for our business a lot. So I get a lot of points and
Right.
we're able to fly business class very often for, like I flew Vancouver to Singapore for $120
Oh,
plus
wow.
points. So that's kind of what we do. And then Debbie sort of banks our weeks every year because we don't use a timeshare that we actually own, funny enough.
Mhm.
We bank those weeks. And then through a program called Interval International, they have for owners what they call getaways. So that's inventory that's not available to the public per se, but it's timeshare owners' weeks that are just sitting empty.
Mm.
So quite often Debbie just does that exchange and the getaways and puts them together. And we used to do that for a couple of weeks at a time, but it's like, well, why don't we do it for 3 or 4 or 5 or 7?
Right.
And we've gradually been doing that. And we get there and we live as locals. I mean, it's just like living in a condo, really, at a
Mhm.
JW Marriott. It's a 1-bedroom condo, effectively. We rented a local car from a local car hire company, not there's anything wrong with Enterprise and Hertz, but you pay a lot more money. But when you live as a local and you get to know what locals do,
Right.
you can live very frugally. And
Yeah.
to rented the car, got a condo, guaranteed with Wi-Fi because it's a Marriott that it's going to work. And pretty much everywhere I stay is a Marriott. So loyalty. We get a lot of
Mhm.
upgrades and benefits because of our titanium membership now. But loyalty works, right? And you're going to get a consistent quality of services. So yeah, that's how we do it.
I love this story that you're sharing. The piece for me has always been about the wireless, the connection, because in our work we have to have good, consistent, strong wireless. So you are in a Marriott property, so that's almost 99, 9/10% guaranteed. Okay.
Yeah.
Because, by the way, I
The other
do
piece
have to
is, so I was going to say the other piece is my Canadian cell phone.
yeah,
Even though you can get eSIMs and stuff for browsing, I have a very good roaming package and I pay
yeah,
so much per day.
mhm,
So my phone is with me 365 and it's the same number and it rings and everything happens wherever I am in the world. I pay a little bit of a premium for that,
sure.
but it makes me just have a mobile office really. So,
What was your work day like? And it was or was that, not was it consistent or was it really variable?
well, this is where the discipline has to come in because
Okay.
it's very easy. The sun is shining, the pool is beckoning. It's like, "Oh, I won't bother today. Right. Have to be disciplined. So
Yeah.
in Thailand, because as I said, it's very, very, it's not quite the dateline, but pretty close. I tended to bookend my day. So I'd get up around 7 a.m.,
Mhm.
which was 4 or 5 in the afternoon BC time. So I
Right.
was able to catch the tail end of the workday with my team.
Mhm.
They've sent me a bunch of stuff while I'm asleep. So 2 or 3 hours in the morning was me catching up with what they needed from me doing my sales development, my project development, my writing. So
Mhm.
by 10:30, 11 in the morning Thai time,
Mhm.
that's mine, right? Debbie and I could go to the pool, we could go out, and I didn't start work again until 8 p.m. So again, some people say 8 p.m., I'm toast. Well, I just regenerated my batteries from 5 hours in the Thai sunlight. I'm good to go. And I'm one of these coffee guys that drink coffee at 11 o'clock at night and be asleep at 11:03.
I hear you. That's a gift, by the way, Jonathan. It's a gift.
It is,
I love
and I
that.
appreciate it, and I'll may it continue. So I'm not a decaf guy.
Mhm.
So I do drink a lot of coffee. I drink it black, so no calories, but
Right.
I start work around 8 PM, and depending on my client schedule, sometimes I'm done by midnight, sometimes it's 1:30, 2
Mhm.
AM. But then the next day, I flex again. So I bookended my day between start and finish, but then I had the quality time with my wife in the daytime when the sun's out. And like, why not? Everybody else in my team's asleep. My
Mhm.
email's not coming in. Most of my clients are in North America. They're asleep.
Mhm.
So I'm not even feeling guilty. I'm not responding to emails timely because there aren't any.
Right.
So it works very well for me.
Okay. Interesting in how you say it works very well for you. I mean, you are a business owner. You're the boss. You get to decide how you want to show up in that role. I do agree you need to give yourself permission to do things because we are ingrained to have this 9 to 5 job.
Yep.
Can can more people do this, or are you just very unique?
Well, I think they can. I mean, if you have a service-based business that revolves around people coming in your door and buying off a shelf, different
Hmm.
story. But nothing to say you can't hire good staff.
Hmm.
And I certainly have good staff. Most of what happens, I'm not involved with
Hmm.
anymore. I'm very much a sales and strategy kind of guy and a coach. That's what I do.
Okay.
That's my three pieces of work. But when you bookmark your hours and you say, in the next hour, I am going to do a blog, or I am going to write my next email campaign, or I am going to do a SWOT analysis for a client, and then you know that you're going to get to go and sit by the pool,
Hmm.
you you motivate yourself to get that job done. Otherwise, you're going to stretch it all day and then waste the day. So
Right.
I'm very much motivated by time, and I'm
Hmm.
also motivated by quality of life.
Right.
So that, as I said, this work-life blend for me. I mean, my wife's mum is still around, bless her heart, but both my parents and Debbie's dad all brought up in Britain, but they all died at
Hmm.
74.
Ah,
I'm almost 60, and I refuse to accept that I have 14 years left.
right.
But on the off chance that I do, right? I can't determine my genes or anything like that. Let's just say I've got 14 years left. I'm
Hmm.
not waiting another 7 years to retire at 67, which is what they say in pretty much you have to do now in Europe. And it's like, why wait that long? Because you may not have that long. I mean, you
Hmm.
don't know. So for me, I live each day. I wouldn't say I'm not Steve Jobs saying each day is my last. I'm not thinking that way. But what I am thinking is, how can I make the most of each day?
Hmm.
And my number one priority is my marriage, my wife. And we've been
Hmm.
married 36 years this year. And that in itself is quite the achievement. But we ain't done. There's a lot of the
Right.
world that we want to go see. Um, kind of bit different, really, is that I did go back to the same place twice, which typically I don't, but it was so good.
Yeah.
And it's very low season in Thailand. And we were spoiled last year because it was just coming out of the pandemic and nobody really was traveling to Asia from North America. They did a
Right.
lot more this year and a
Hmm.
lot more different mix because a lot of Russian people can still travel to Thailand. So a lot of Russian speaking people in the community
Hmm.
and quite a lot of Chinese actually, which we hadn't seen the year before, which awesome
Okay.
to mix different stories with cultures around the pool. But we just found that it worked so well. Do it again, right? Wash, rinse,
Okay.
repeat. So we did, but we stayed
Excellent.
longer this time.
Excellent. Now, how long did you stay this time?
So this time was 7 weeks. The
7 weeks.
previous time was 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
And the
when
thing,
you,
our flights, right? It's just the cost of living is a little bit longer. I got such an incredible deal on the car hire anyway. He just charged me an amount of money. It didn't matter how long I had it for. In the end, it was a crazy good deal.
yeah,
And we ate like locals. So
I love that. And I have to, again, I will share, I went on the equivalent of Zillow for Thailand to say, okay, how much are 1 bedroom condos or apartments? So I love that. Now, when you are ready to wash, rinse, and repeat, do you have an inkling of where you'd like to go next? Or is that still up in the air?
well, I, I, I like to be ahead of my time zone. I tried Hawaii, which
Right,
was lovely, but it's 4 hours later than here. I
right,
always felt I was behind.
right.
So England, anywhere in Europe, 8, 9 hours ahead of me is fantastic. Europe goes into Central Asia. There's something magical about the Thai people. They
Mm,
just love on you in every way, shape, or form.
good
They're
food
just a
too.
very lovely. So I might do Chiang Mai, I might do Burma, I might do Bali. I don't
Okay.
know, but Asia's just in my sights, and
Okay.
yeah,
Fair
yeah.
enough. Fair enough. You mentioned the coaching word a minute ago, and I want to chat a little bit about your newest venture, JonathanChristian.com, and this journey of coaching. Tell us more about that.
Well, I've been in business since I was 16, so hard to sort of say, but I'm coming up for like almost like 40 years of experience. And what I've found over the years is if you're going to hire a coach, you want somebody who's already done what you need to do. You don't want
Hmm.
someone who's just slightly ahead of you anymore. You need someone who's actually done it.
Hmm.
And I've been on it's the roller coaster of life, some fantastic mountaintop experiences and some absolutely awful train wrecks.
Hmm.
But out of the train wrecks comes a resilience, right?
Hmm.
And what I found over the last 10 years is most of the work that I've been doing was on behalf of other people.
Hmm.
So this done for you world where I said, okay, we can do the strategy for you. We will do this. We've had good success, but not the kind of success that I was hoping for with certain clients because they just abrogated responsibility.
Hmm.
And in this AI world, if you are not 100% the real deal,
Hmm.
making your own content, making your own videos, showing up in person online, then why would people buy from you? Because there's a gazillion cheap options of AI alternatives now. So
Oh yeah.
what I realized, there's a difference between consulting and coaching.
Mhm.
Consulting is you're coming alongside somebody and helping them and doing it with them. Coaching is exactly that. I am not the guy in the field with the ball. I am not the guy on Zoom. I am not the guy in the sales call. That's my client.
Mhm.
So what I've been working on is perfecting how I help my clients step up for themselves, but have that accountability and that coach in the corner who can get them out of a dark hole, give them that motivation, give them that marketing ideas and that spark of enthusiasm. But I don't do the work.
Mhm.
My work is getting them successfully ready to do the work for themselves. And that's been the pivot over the
Mhm.
last couple of years. So now I do some works, I do some workshop work, and I do mostly coaching where I have a business owner who chances are they've worked with us in the past who
Mhm.
is now looking at me and saying, how does he do that? How
Right.
did he stay married? How are his kids quite successful? How does he manage to travel? And
Mhm.
quite often it's that curiosity that starts the conversation.
Mhm.
And then it's like, well, I want a piece of that. How could I make that happen too? And it's like, well, if there's a fit, then let's just see what that looks like. And
I love it.
that's what I do.
Fantastic. And as you go down this path that you are on today, is there a goal in mind, or you're making some of this up as you go along, or is this vision is like
Well,
I see across the border, a mile, 10 miles, 100 miles down the line, what that's going to look like?
I mean, I have a client who's a retirement coach. It's in the UK. His name is George Sturgeon. He tagged himself the retirement rebellion, and he's created a movement about who said you have to retire at 65. You know, it was actually the you know, governments that created retirement to.
Right.
It wasn't a natural function. So
Mhm.
George and I took it, and we looked at my retirement plan as part of my working with him and he with me. And my wife said to me, "You will never retire.
Mhm.
You can't stop. You just that ADHD in your brain just doesn't shut up.
Mhm.
That's almost like my coffee is my medicine to keep me calm. The opposite, right? So I just love to help people. So I'm finding now that I've got a model that I can travel and help people for as long as I want to. I
Mhm.
mean, I've been self-employed for, best part of 40 years. I don't have that big final salary pension that a lot of people in corporate America enjoyed.
Right.
So realistically, my pension is my net worth, and my net worth is really my network.
Mhm.
And not saying that I haven't made some good financial decisions and we have some good property equity and all of that. But do I have enough to retire today? No. Will I ever? Oh, depend. I mean, if I live till 100, it's a very different story than if I live to 74.
Right.
So because of that, that finite pot of money needs to keep topping up. So being honest, I'm not motivated by money specifically, but I am motivated by a quality of life. And if I need to make money to fund that quality of life, I'll keep making it.
I love it. I love it. Well, Jonathan, it's been a pleasure to have you back on the Success Insight podcast, specifically the Career Focus series. And I just love the journey that you are on today and this path that you are beginning to create in front of you in the moment. And so it's wonderful to catch up. And you got me thinking about Thailand because but even before this call, I was looking at YouTube videos and buying a trailer, a truck camper, because
Yeah.
I literally could do that. I just, again, it all comes for me. It comes down to the internet connection. But I like you, I don't see myself being able to, well, probably not being able to retire, but I enjoy what I do. I enjoy conversations like this and the coaching that I do. And so having a conversation with you as somebody whose work I know is successful, and I love the fact that you were spending 7 weeks in Thailand. I thought that was pretty darn cool. And so I appreciate you sharing about this journey, and just wish you and Debbie the best. And I know your kids are doing great. I mean, the one daughter and son in Europe, they were doing the cruise lifestyle. And so
Yeah. Super yachts. Yeah. And Gemma's actually come out of super yacht world now and
yeah,
actually created her own training academy after 10 years of being a
yeah,
chief stew on those billionaire super yachts. So she has a training academy. Smart girl. Most people need a job. So not
yeah.
only has she created a recruitment agency where she finds people the right job, she also now has the training to go with that, which no
Oh,
other agency in the world offers. So
wow.
Gemma's in Morocco this week. She's in Florida next week. She was in Paris last week. She's like chip off the old block.
I
And
was going to
then,
say that. Yeah.
yeah, she's quite the entrepreneur. And her husband is a captain now. And
Okay.
he's just got a land-based job for the time being, delivering private yachts to people once they've been built. And that final procedure of handing them over and teaching people how to sail is part of what he does. So yeah, yeah.
Very good. And your other daughters are doing well. And
Far from the tree of coming, right?
yeah, very good. Well, listen, once again, I want to thank you for joining us. Now, if our listeners would like to learn more about you and your new practice, where are the best places for them to go?
Yeah, just Google Jonathan Christian. I mean, there's a few of us in the world. There's a photographer, there's a footballer and stuff, but you'll find me, jonathanchristian.com.
Okay.
And my philosophy is we make stuff happen. So again, Google we make stuff happen. You'll find us.
That sounds like a plan. And Jonathan, once again, thanks for taking time out of your day. And we're only, I think, maybe one time zone away from each other. Maybe we're the same time zone. I don't know. But thank you again. It's been a pleasure to catch up with you.
You're welcome, brother. Peace.
All right. Listen, stay in the line. We're going to do a quick close, and you and I can have a final chat. All right, folks, we have just been chatting with the magnificent Jonathan Christian. He's founder of the digital marketing firm We Make Stuff Happen. And his newest venture is his coaching firm, jonathanchristian.com. And this episode of the Career Focus series, I was just so intrigued by his and his wife Debbie's ability just to be anywhere in the world and still not only enjoy themselves, stay healthy, have fun, but also to keep running the business. And in this day and age, many of us have this opportunity to be digital nomads, and we perhaps need to bring this to the front burner, so to speak, and give ourselves permission to be creative and how we can have a lifestyle that not only makes us happy, helps keep us healthy, but also provides us the financial wherewithal to do the things that we'd like to have, and have the things that we'd like to have in our lives, really not the material things, but also the experiences. And I love following Jonathan for that reason. Now, you again can go out and just Google Jonathan, jonathanchristian.com. We're going to provide backlinks as well to both of the websites. And if you would like to learn more about us, you can find us on our website, successinsightpodcast.com. This is the Career Focus series. We're also on LinkedIn and Facebook on Success Insight Podcast pages, and we are on all of the major podcast directories. So wherever you get your podcast from, just search for Success Insight Podcast, and on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, as well as our website. Do leave us comments, and you can sign up to be notified whenever we drop a new episode. Okay, folks, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go out there, have a phenomenal day, and we will see you on a future episode of the Success Insight Podcast. Take care now.